Welcome to today's Explainer. So today we're diving into some truly fascinating source material that unpacks one of the most baffling anomalies on Earth. We're going to explore this incredible place where history, deep-rooted faith, and seemingly impossible biology all just collide right in the middle of the desert. Seriously, prepare yourself because the reality of this location defies almost everything we understand about science, predators, and disease.
Okay, let's actually kick things off with a date that forever changed the city of Bikaner in Rajasthan, India. That's January 11th, 2002. It was a cold evening when the city's massive ammunition depot caught fire. I mean, imagine the absolute terrifying sensory overload here. 70 to 80 trucks totally loaded with bombs and missiles just started detonating. It literally rained fire from the sky. It looked for sure like the entire city would be reduced to ash in mere moments. Yet, amidst an explosion of this magnitude, against all odds, something astonishing happened. The city survived, and get this, only 2 lives were lost. Well, that brings us to the seriously mysterious explanation behind that survival. According to the source material, on that exact night of destruction, the chief priest of a local temple had this unbelievable vision. He encountered a figure known to locals as the bearded old woman, the goddess Karni Mata herself. Her hands were severely burnt. When the stunned priest asked what had happened, she simply replied, "My hands got burnt trying to save my Bikaner." This really powerful mythological hook is the entire foundation of the awe and reverence surrounding the deity who supposedly protected the city.
But, to really understand this goddess, we've got to travel away from the explosions of Bikaner and step into your actual sanctuary out in the sun-baked sands of Deshnok. And the second you cross the threshold of this temple, you're hit with this absolutely staggering number, 25,000. You're not stepping on a normal stone floor here. You are literally walking among more than 25,000 black rats constantly crawling right beneath your feet.
Now, this profound reverence completely flips our usual human psychology, right? I mean, normally, seeing a rat triggers an instant, visceral fear of disease and pestilence. But here, they're called kabbas, which actually translates to dear children. The devotion in this temple is so intense that humans don't just tolerate these animals, they revere them. Visitors willingly share their food, their milk, and sweets with the kabbas, treating them with the immense affection you would normally reserve for your own family.
So, to figure out why these rats are so sacred, we kind of need to look at the timeline of Karni Mata herself. Born as Rita Kumar back in 1387, her life was marked by the extraordinary, literally, from day one. Local beliefs actually state she spent 21 months in her mother's womb. Crazy, right? As a kid, she reportedly cured her disabled aunt just by placing a hand on her head, which earned her the name Karni, meaning the doer of good. She's said to have performed these astonishing feats, like saving a merchant's ship from a massive sea storm from thousands of miles away, and she lived an incredibly long life, guiding her people for 151 years before finally leaving her physical body in 1538.
So how exactly does a powerful mystic's temple become a sanctuary for 25,000 rats? Well, the historical sources present 2 completely different, but honestly equally fascinating legends. On one side, we have this deeply personal story. Karni Mata's stepson, Laxman, tragically drowned. She fiercely demanded his life back from Yamaraj, the god of death. When Yamaraj refused, citing the laws of nature, she just bypassed him completely, decreeing that her descendants would never enter the realm of death, but would instead be reborn as rats right in her temple. But then, on the other side, we have a military legend. 20,000 soldiers deserted a battlefield, which was a crime, punishable by death. They sought her protection, and mercifully she saved their lives by transforming them into rats to serve the temple forever.
And amidst this massive sea of black rats, we hit our first huge scientific anomaly. Out of all 25,000 kabbas, there are only about 4 or 5 extremely rare white rats. Spotting one is considered like the ultimate blessing. It's believed to be a direct sighting of Karni Mata and her 4 sons. Devotees will literally sit completely frozen for hours by the temple crevices, just hoping for a single glimpse.
And this brilliantly illustrates a total puzzle for modern geneticists. If we look at this biologically, albinism is a recessive genetic trait. In a closed population of 25,000 black rats, the basic laws of genetics tell us that this white gene should either be completely bred out and vanish over the centuries, or through some large mutation, boom, a massive chunk of the population should turn white. Yet, it does neither. The population stays perfectly, inexplicably stable at exactly 4 to 5 white rats.
Now, this genetic puzzle builds into an even larger biological paradox. Just think about the basic rules of the food chain for a second. We have an open-air temple holding an all-you-can-eat buffet of 25,000 rats. The roof is wide open to the sky, yet this is a strict no-predator zone.
There are absolutely no cats, no snakes, no hawks, and no eagles swooping in for an easy meal. Why does every natural predator on Earth completely ignore this spot?
Well, researchers have naturally tried to break this down. And honestly, the scientific hypotheses are super fascinating. First up, there's the theory of collective scent. 25,000 rats all in one place create this intense odor that acts basically as a sensory overload, deeply confusing the tracking systems of predators like cats or dogs and keeping them away. Alternatively, it could be mob behavior. Predators might instinctively just know that attacking one single rat could trigger a terrifying, unified swarm response. Lastly, there's the 24/7 human presence. The constant crowds, the ringing bells, the activity acting as a permanent shield.
Actually, scratch that. Maybe the most shocking scientific anomaly happened between 1992 and 1993. An absolutely terrifying outbreak of the bubonic plague struck parts of India, notably the city of Surat. Panic just swept the nation. Health officials were totally terrified of the Deshnok Temple, assuming 25,000 rats mingling with thousands of humans would instantly become a catastrophic ground zero for mass death. The result? A baffling medical mystery. 0 rats in the temple died from the disease, and 0 humans visiting the temple were infected.
So the really crucial takeaway here is the total absence of zoonotic disease. A zoonotic disease is an infection transmitted directly from animals to humans. In this temple, devotees literally eat prasad, sweets, that have been nibbled on by the rats. They drink from the exact same bowls of milk. Medically speaking, that is a guaranteed recipe for severe bacterial transmission, for sure. Yet, in the hundreds of years of the temple's history, there is not a single recorded case of disease transferring from a Karnaba to a human.
You know, the immense reverence that creates this environment has actually driven the evolution of the temple itself. What started way back in 1538 as a humble mud and stone meditation cave has grown into a magnificent architectural wonder. In the 20th century, Maharaja Ganga Singh added a breathtaking marble facade that beautifully blends Rajput and Mughal styles. Then, in 1999, jeweler Kundan Lal Verma donated these massive, intricately carved solid silver doors. And let me tell you, if you stand by those silver doors at 4 a.m. for the Mangla Arti, the sensory experience is just unforgettable. Heavy bells echo, conch shells blow, and thousands of rats pour out of the walls to join the morning prayers. Of course, to maintain this delicate harmony, visitors have to follow some incredibly strict, visceral protocols. You must never lift your feet. Instead, you're supposed to slide them across the floor to avoid stepping on a kabba. Harming a rat is strictly forbidden, and that rule is enforced by a seriously heavy penalty. If a rat is accidentally killed, tradition dictates you have to repent by donating a solid silver or gold replica of a rat to the temple. It's a really powerful reminder that every single life within those walls is considered profoundly sacred.
Moving beyond the bustling main temple, our source material takes us to the quieter, more serene outskirts of Deshnok, to a spot called Nehedi Ji Dham. This is the exact site where Karni Mata lived and churned curd. She actually used an ancient Kejri tree as the post for her churning rope, and according to local lore, the bark of this specific tree holds miraculous properties that can cure severe skin diseases. It became so heavily sought after by desperate devotees that the temple management literally had to wrap the trunk in heavy iron mesh just to protect the ancient tree from being stripped completely bare.
Right near that sacred tree is this dark, narrow meditation cave where Karni Mata worshipped Lord Shiva. Even today, entering this cave requires a really eerie, deeply respectful tradition. As you approach the dim entrance, you have to cough loudly or knock on the wall. Why? Because the tradition holds that the goddess still meditates inside, maybe even shape-shifting, and it is highly disrespectful to startle her. Only after you announce your presence can you step inside to experience the intense, vibrating energy of the ancient shivling.
Which basically brings us to a final, really provocative thought to leave you with today. When you stand in the absolute silence of that cave, feeling a heavy, almost electric energy in the air, or when you watch white rats completely defy genetics and see thousands of people share food with animals without a single instance of illness, you kind of have to ask yourself, is all of this merely a complex trick of the mind? A unique biological anomaly just waiting for a better scientific explanation? Or is it the true, lingering presence of the divine? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I highly encourage you to keep questioning the amazing mysteries of our incredible world.